Thank you for joining us for this edition of Santa Ana College Close-Up. I'm Anna Reyes. I have some amazing guests here today, but first we'll start our show with a peek inside SAC's dance department.
Noted for the high quality of its productions, Santa Ana College's dance department has a broad curriculum which not only helps students hone their performance skills, but also teaches them how to create their own choreography. Students get the chance to showcase their work annually in a year-end dance concert. The department teaches a variety of styles including ballet, jazz, hip-hop, and many others. Advanced students, who are selected by audition, have performance and choreographic opportunities on campus, at local high schools, at dance festivals and community events. Guest choreographers are brought in during the fall semester to give students a chance to interact with professionals in the industry. Many graduates have gone on to lead successful performing, choreography, and teaching careers.
Welcome back. Here to talk about SAC's dance department is Heather Gillette. Heather, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you, Anna. I appreciate it. I'm very excited to be here with you today. Thank you.
Can you tell me about your role in the dance department?
I am the chair of the dance department, and I have been the department chair for the past 5 years. This was a new position for me. Prior to that, I was just the full-time professor of dance, but there was a shift and change within our department. Sylvia Turner, who was previously the chair, became the dean, and then Eve Kikawa shifted into being the chair, and then that completely shifted into then Eve Kikawa moved into the dean position of Fine and Performing Arts, then creating that opportunity for me to be the department chair. I've been with the department for almost 20 years.
20?
Yeah. So, but of the past 5, I've been the department chair.
Has that role been for you?
It's a very different shift. When you're in the studio and or teaching classes with the students, it was also directing the dance touring ensemble, also responsible for productions of our concerts. And so most of my time was spent in the studio. When I shifted in the department chair, it was more administrative work. And so that was a very different language, a different set of responsibilities, a lot more time spent on the computer and or conversing with meetings with our Fine and Performing Arts Division office and with the dean, constantly working on curriculum and managing and organizing schedules and teachers and instructors. And so it was different and challenging at first, but as I start to understand the role and the importance of it, it's allowed for me to understand how the school system works and to understand the different ways to navigate how to continuously build the program and support it now with this more administrative background.
So can you tell me a bit about the dance program and what is expected of your students to do before they transfer out?
Well, I'm going to go back to what I have known thus so far for the past over 40 years under the direction of Sylvia Turner and then also under Eve Kikawa. Both of them had a vision of two different visions. Sylvia was interested in preparing the student to go out into the work field. She had connections with Disney and also with ice skating, choreography, and very involved in the cruise line type of entertainment. She really saw the strength in that, and so she wanted our students to be prepared with more in that commercial field component. Eve Kikawa had a background in, she was interested in the choreographic and the artistic component of dance, and so she wanted to make sure that our students had those tools to have creative problem-solving tools and choreographic tools. And then there's, of course, the technical component of dancers actually learning their techniques. So with all of that, then what we are now is we have a program that is focused on for those students who, if they're interested in transferring to a 4-year program, we provide enough training in technique and in their choreography and in their history and their somatic practices to then transfer to a 4-year. If they're interested in not transferring, to prepare them for the workforce. So if they're interested in becoming maybe a choreographer and or maybe a teacher and or wants to perform in the commercial field, then we can guide them that way. So our program is created in such a way that we can support that kind of student.
That sounds like a lot.
Yeah, there it is.
So how you find a way to merge them together in a sense?
Well, they're both, most of the courses that we offer do crossover because we have a AA degree and then we also have a dance certificate in performance. So some of them are shared, but for an example would be the AA degree does not offer hip hop, but that's in the certificate, right? And vice versa, we have somatics, and it's also not in the certificate. But then there's studio dance practices, which prepares the student for teaching in a studio, and that is not in the AA degree. So there's certain things that are separate, but then the ballet, the jazz, the modern technique are in both. And then there's, of course, then the production and choreography courses that students have to learn choreographic skills to then prepare them for production because they have to choreograph for our concerts.
And how is that selection process for the students to become the choreographers for the spring
Um,
production?
Once upon a time in the past, we used to have students make a proposal of their ideas, choreographic ideas. We would give them approximately 3 or 4 weeks to practice that, and then they would audition the piece. We shifted away from that. Instead, we are looking at those dance majors who have to choreograph in order to finish their degree. They have first priority, and then they submit their proposals. We have a meeting, we discuss their ideas. We immediately go into the rehearsal process, each individual choreographer, and then there are rehearsal directors that are assigned to those actual individual students who then get one-on-one feedback. So there's no more longer a selection process. It's more, there is in a sense of, there's that hierarchy of who needs to choreograph in order to transfer and compete. So that might be the student who's the second year or in their third year. Then we go from there. But then within that process, we are already supporting them to be successful in choreographing for the concert.
Awesome. That sounds like a good partnership between the instructor and the dance student.
Yeah, we have those advisors, and these are our both the full-time and the part-time faculty who are very involved, hands-on. They are there at every single rehearsal and always giving feedback from both to the choreographer to give them different ideas to think outside the box a little bit and to problem solve, and then just allowing for that student to work on their own to figure those things out. So yeah, it's good.
That's interesting. I was wondering, like, dance is constantly changing and evolving. How do you keep that relevance in your curriculum?
A lot of our faculty, I have a philosophy of trying to hire faculty who are always coming out of the new programs. So an example would be master's programs. UC Irvine has a master's program, Cal State Long Beach. I am looking at those graduates who are coming out of the programs and to then try to hire them out because I know that they have fresh ideas. And I know that most of them are still working in other companies. And they're working outside of course, Santa Ana College. And so to me, they bring a lot of diversity and newness to as dance is growing and changing.
Sounds great. I keep saying so I hear there's a possibility there's going to be a partnership between the Digital Media Center and dance.
I'm very excited.
Can you tell us about that?
I have a lot of work ahead of me in reference to researching the different components of this. But in a nutshell, dance on film has been around for a number of years. Many years, but it's there's more festivals. So just like you have film festivals, we now have dance film festivals, and so it allows for the lens of dance to be seen in a different media form,
Yeah.
right? Instead of just concert dance and on stage. So in reference to this collaboration, I think that it's a really important skill that dancers need to have, and it's also a venue for them to craft their choreography and present it in a different way. Of course, because we see things so much on YouTube and social media, and our lives are in this particular new digital era. And so it makes sense to me then that we need to jump on board, even though dance on film has been around for 30, 40, 50 years. It's just a new trend, a new shift. And so with that, collaborating with the digital media, TV, video productions is being able to create a certificate where our students are collaborating,
with-
taking
yeah.
courses through TV media, and that then taking those skills learned from this program and then merging it into the choreographic process and creating dance on film, on the camera. So looking forward to it.
Okay. So dance on film is this, I see like what people can confuse it with, like doing like a choreographed piece and then posting it on social media. With dance on film, is that more of a narrative story?
Doesn't have to be. It can't. I mean, I don't know enough about film itself, but
Yeah.
the camera and already does tell a story, right?
Yeah.
It does tell a story. So when you're going to have different shots and different viewpoints, and you might be able to hone in on just the gesture of a hand and or the body part, and how does it travel through space. It'll have a different form and life, and in different ways, and not just on stage, but also in different environments, right? So
Yeah.
dance and the film are going to be
Merging.
becoming one,
sense.
right?
Oh, that's
So I don't
nice.
know if I answered that.
No, we'll find out once
Okay.
we get to
Yeah.
create this
Yeah.
amazing partnership eventually. Well, thank you so much for your time, Heather.
Thank you, Anna.
Thanks again for joining us. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back to hear from one of the students from Sacs Dance Department. I chose Santa Ana College due to the fact that they do offer a lot of help for their students when it comes to the CTE program. But I do want to get certificates, so that's a great help.
Professors are here to like actually tell you like, hey, I'm here to help you.
I chose to come to SAG because of the classes they offered, because no other community college offered the classes that I wanted to pursue my transfer to university.
The MESA program, they like lend me books for like my chemistry, my bio, and the learning center. They help me so much.
My favorite thing here is the people. I love the people here.
You know, I think in the end of the day, I kind of metaphorically told myself, you know what? I'm here because I'm growing with the school. So when the school is done, you know, being constructed and whatnot, you know, it's kind of like me kind of being done growing and whatnot. So I kind of related a bit, you know?
Hello again. My next guest is Cindy Lopez, a current student from Sacs Dance Department. Cindy, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So how long have you been dancing?
Oh, how long I've been dancing in general?
Yes.
Let's see. I have been dancing for at least 15 years.
15.
I am 30 years of age right now. So I started in high school. It's kind of a late bloomer. Most people start dancing, you know, as little kids, 5-year-old ballet class and whatnot. But I was more into gymnastics and tumbling and twirling at that time. It wasn't until I took my first dance class at Wilson High School in Long Beach, California, where I'm originally from, that I really fell in love with the art form and the passion behind it.
So you being previous in gymnastics, did that help you the transition to dance?
I would say, yeah, definitely. It was a little easier. Not necessarily like the flips and all that stuff, but which is in dance, don't get me wrong. But more of just like the dancing part. In gymnastics, you're familiar with like the floor pieces, that there's dance moves in there.
Yeah.
So I was always the one on my teams where my other teammates would come to me to help them with the dance part of that routine. So I was kind of like, well, maybe I got something going on in dance. Maybe I should take that up. And then that's when I took my first class, and the rest is history.
Here you are.
Exactly.
So what made you come to SAC for the dance department?
Honestly, I was at a turning point in my life. I danced at Long Beach City College between 2007 and 2011, and I had to leave school for work and money, financial issues, family issues, and it wasn't until last year, fall semester, where I decided to quit my full-time job, get a part-time job, and come back for a degree in dance and also a degree in kinesiology. So I'm a double major student right now.
What do you plan to do with your majors?
With both of them combined, I'm hoping to become a physical therapist, specialization with dancers, or I'm also thinking of a physiotherapist with a specialization of dancers, of course. The difference between the two is physiotherapy is more along the lines of working with the dancer through their ages. So even starting with maybe a child who's 8 years old at dancing and working with them all the way up until they're 15, 16, until they get other, professors and stuff like that, and really help them to not only execute the moves, but execute it appropriately and properly so they don't injure themselves. And with physical therapy, it would be, again, prevention, but on the other hand, I would be introducing myself more to dancers that have already been injured and trying to rehabilitate them to get back to normal, back to their original dancing state that they were. So that really drove me as a dancer myself. I suffered a lot of injuries, unfortunately. Again, I feel it was because when you're taking your dance classes, it's all about the execution of the movements. There's so much to cover in a dance class. Usually they're like an hour and a half, 2 hours long tops. And to do a warm-up with a condition, learning the choreography, learning, the meaning behind it, throwing in conditioning, and then stretching at the end, it's just so much to compact in
the body.
The body and in time, really.
Yeah.
So I feel with the majors that I'm going into, I want to eventually be able to develop a technique or a program that emphasizes like a class specifically for not just strength and conditioning, but to learn how your body works. Kind of like a somatics class where they teach you the anatomy of the body and how it's used. It would also be like a preventative class to make sure you're doing everything correctly.
Is that something that should already exist?
It does.
Yeah.
I know it does exist. I've spoken to a few physiotherapists that have these kind of things, but they're definitely expensive.
Yeah.
And they're more offered in either academies or companies. So my idea is to bring it to the rural communities.
Oh, like communities.
Yeah, to bring it to Santa Ana, I know that there's so many girls and teenagers and even, young adults that love dance, and some of them don't want to do it because it makes my back hurt. Let me tell you why it makes your back hurt. Let me help that pain. So that's kind of where I'm going with this. And I really love it.
Well, it sounds like you have a promising future in that.
Yes, I hope so.
Do you want planning on transferring?
Oh yeah, so right now with dance, I'm only in my officially third semester with Santa Ana. So I've taken jazz with Leanne, she's amazing.
Yeah.
Currently taking choreography with Heather, and she's amazing as well. And I've learned so much in those classes. I do want to transfer to Fullerton. So once I finish, all of my classes here, do my performances and everything, I would like to take it to Fullerton and earn a bachelor's degree. And then maybe a master's, we'll get there. But I'm definitely going to be taking both kinesiology and dance to Fullerton and double majoring in that as well. So I have a vision. I'm really striving for it, and it's just it's all about my passion. I'm so grateful that I can live in a community and in a time where I can do what I love, and there's so many beautiful people to support me. The whole Santa Ana Dance Department, students, professors, they're so welcoming and so loving, and they're so supporting. It's very rare to find that in this time and day, especially in a junior college. Usually it's just students come in, do the work, I give you your grade, okay, you're out.
And now, yeah.
And this environment, this school, it's definitely it's nurturing, and it's something that's really needed, especially in these days.
Yeah, I was going to ask you what was so different from Long Beach College and between Santa Ana College.
Long Beach City College, my time there, it definitely was more of a direction of preparing the students for a professional career as performers.
Okay.
So they were more intense, I would say. Their classes were definitely, their criteria and classes were definitely more geared towards joining a big name company,
Yeah.
or a big name academy, American Ballet Theater, San Francisco Ballet, places like that. They were really geared towards the professional companies. And here, I feel that they're nurturing for all the spheres
Yeah.
of dance. It's not just dance performer and be principal dancer at American Ballet Theater. It's you can be the teacher of the 3-year-old
Yeah.
and have totally fine, or you can, like in my case, I'm doing the science side
Yeah.
of it. There's so many spheres in dance, and I feel that this campus, this Santa Ana College, really encompasses and really nourishes their students to grow in each sphere, not just go and be, prima ballerina or go and be the next, Merce Cunningham big name choreographer. I feel that I really respect that. I really love that they nurture each individual student to the best of their abilities. Even if you're a newcomer, we have a lot of newcomers in classes, and I love it because you see that they don't really know much, you know. And then towards the end of the semester, they're like, oh my God, it's such a transformation has happened. And it's because the instructor doesn't give up. I've been to other classes where if you're a little behind, you're going to stay behind the whole class because they want to focus on the
ones who
prima.
are ahead. Yeah.
They want to focus on the ones that are doing it. But my experience here at Santa Ana College has definitely been everyone's inclusive. No one gets left behind. So I really love that about the dance department here. It's amazing.
I'm glad you're enjoying yourself in the program.
Yes, of course.
So we were talking outside earlier,
Yes.
and I asked you what's your future for dance, and you were talking about a dance philosophy class?
Oh yeah. So I was taking along with Heather's choreography class. I'm taking Leanne's dance history class right now, and they posed this question. The most simplest question, what is dance? And in those conversations, we had, we even thought of just waking up in the morning, getting out of bed, turning off your alarm, brushing your teeth. That's dancing.
Oh.
So it comes to the whole idea of eventually I would love to see, or maybe even implement myself, is a dance philosophy class where dancers can talk about their movement, talk about what it means to them, and talk about maybe the different levels and possibilities that we can encounter in dance. There's a big, I learned about the postmoderners, one of the last generation of the modern choreographers. They had this idea of coming upon dance by accident. So doing a performance in the park or doing a performance on the rooftop of a building, just falling upon it by accident. And that idea really, really made me think. And of course, we had to continue with the class, so we couldn't keep talking about it. But I would love to just be able to talk about it. Sometimes, you just need to talk about some things to really figure it out.
Yeah.
And I feel like if we had just like a philosophy of dance of where all of our forerunners, all of our pioneers in dance, where were they coming from? How did they get these ideas? I think that would just be like a good opening to anyone who's just curious about dance too. They don't actually have to start moving.
Yeah.
They can talk about it. They can see what's this all about, or even just learn a couple things. But I think that would be like a great class to have because there's so much to it, and it really sucks sometimes when people are like, oh, you're a dancer. It's like, okay, give me a twirl.
Oh,
it's
there's so more
it's more than just twirling and jumping, but it's definitely extremely technical, and you got to be a real hard thinker.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Yes,
I
of course.
wish all the best for you in your future.
Thank you so much.
All right, Cindy, thank you for joining. Oh my gosh. That's all the time we have today. Thanks again for joining us, and be sure to check back later for our next edition of SAC Close Up.